Hey everyone, this is Dawn. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to do a scrapbook layout featuring papers from Cape Cod and the Mix-In collection. Okay, so these are both of those collections. I thought I was going to use Cape Cod stickers, but I wound up not using them. And the pictures I'm going to scrapbook are from the BlueBird project that is a volunteer project in our little town. And I was finally able to get out to the site last week. I don't know if you've seen a previous video of mine, but I have a broken ankle, and walking out there was a little tough. It's pretty rough terrain, but last week I was able to make it, and I was able to see some babies. So let's go ahead and get started. So the design that I'm using is number 9 from Make It From Your Heart Volume 5, and I've just altered it a little bit, and you'll see as I go. So I'm going to start out by cutting this piece of mix-in paper, and I didn't have quite enough, so I've altered it to do 2-inch strips rather than 2.5-inch strips, but that's okay. You can use what you have and make it work. Okay, and then for this piece, this other piece of sapphire mix-in, I started out following the pattern, but you'll see I changed that up later on too. So I cut 2 1/2-inch strips, and then some BlueBird, cutting 2 strips at 1 inch each. And my base is going to be White Daisy. Okay, so I'm going to do some stamping on this BlueBird cardstock. So I'll get everything out of the way, and I've got some scratch paper to put behind it. So I'm using this image that's from a really old stamp set. It's called So Tweet, but there's also a line of birds in the Budgies stamp set that's currently available. So if you want to do something similar, you can use those. But I just like the silhouette images of the birds, and it's going to be a background piece anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp these in BlueBird ink on BlueBird paper, and I'm just going to stamp a whole line of birds, okay, on both strips. So that's the basic process. We'll go ahead and skip ahead. Okay, those 2 strips are all done. And we'll start setting things up according to the pattern. And then there are 2 circles. So I didn't have a die that was big enough from Close to My Heart. So these are the Spellbinders nesting circles. And it actually isn't quite as big as the pattern calls for, but I wanted to use a die, so I'm going to make it work. Okay, so these are my pictures. This first one of the eggs is what my friend Jill took a few weeks ago, and then she was also the photographer because I had my hands full with my hiking sticks and just trying to get around with my foot that's still in a brace. So anyway, she took the pictures, and then the close-up of Mama Bird I got from the website. So the Mama Bird picture that we have, she was too far away from us, so it's the really small one. So now I'm bringing in some periwinkle, and I'm cutting that at 3 by 6 according to the pattern. And I'm going to emboss this. So I'm going to use the Sprigs and Leaves Slimline embossing folder. I'm going to hit this the back of the periwinkle paper with a couple of spritzes of water with my distress sprayer, just a fine mist, and that keeps it from cracking. And it did kind of crack a little bit, but I'm okay with that. It's fine. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut a couple more strips of the Cape Cod patterned paper. And I'm going to bring in some periwinkle glitter paper, and I'm going to cut 2 1/2-inch strips of that. Okay, so I'm just kind of setting things up according to the pattern. And I've sped this up because I fuss with it quite a bit. I use the measurements on my Versamat to line things up and just get a feel for what the layout's going to look like and if I need to make any changes. And once I got my picture in, so now I'm using a 4 by 6 picture for that left panel instead of a 5x7. So I'm going to go ahead and add another mat in periwinkle to that side to kind of make it look a little bit bigger. But that's the basic layout. And then I decided that sapphire piece at the base, I wanted something that was wider to accommodate the size differences in the picture and just make everything look more balanced. So I'm going to cut a 1-inch strip to add to both sides. Okay. All right, so now my dies that I'm using are from Honeybee Stamps, and these are the Spring Birds layering dies. There's a bluebird, and the robin, I changed the colors on her and made her into a mama bluebird. Okay, so we have things lined up here. Now I'm going to bring in my title. These are the wood grain alphabet die cuts, and I'm going to spell out my title with these letters. So I'll get them all popped out and we'll skip ahead in a second. Okay, so now I have everything spelled out and I'm liking this. So then I'm going to bring in some shortbread. I'm going to use the light side of shortbread and I'm going to cut some journaling strips. So I'm going to cut a bunch of strips at 1/4 inch. And I'm going to use these to do my journaling on. I find it's easier to use the strips because if you make a mistake, it's not already on your layout, and just grab another piece of cardstock and you can fix it. So these are going to go, the pattern has the journaling strips on the right panel, but you'll see I change my mind later on. Okay, so I think we're good. I'm going to go ahead and adhere everything down. I've added foam tape to the back of the 2 larger pictures, and I've also double matted the one with the eggs. And then we'll get the picture down on the right panel. And then those 2 small pictures I'm going to add with just tape runner. And then we can add a little tangle of embellishing thread. This is a retired product, but you might have some in your stash. This is the silver embellishing thread. So I've just cut off a length, and if you use your bone folder and run it along the embellishing thread, it takes all of the kinks and folds from packaging out. And then I'm just wrapping it up and adding a few glue dots to my little tangle there. And then if you use your piercing tool, you can just shove it under the edge of your picture or whatever you want to tuck it under, and the glue dots will catch. And I'll just spread everything out. Kind of looks, sort of looks nest-like, right? Just something interesting for the layout, for an embellishment. And then I'll do the same thing on the right side. Okay. All right. Then we'll go ahead and glue down our birds. And our journaling strips. So right now I'm kind of figuring out the placement, and then I'll glue them down off camera. So I decided to split them and put 2 on one side and then finish the story on the right side because they were different weeks and I have the dates for each. Okay, so that's the basic layout, and then we'll get things glued down. And we'll glue down Papa Bird on the left panel. So these bird embellishments that I made, I've added 2 layers of white cardstock underneath them, so they're more chipboard-like. And my friend Jess gave me that idea, and I've been running with it. It really gives them a lot of extra texture and lift, and it's a stronger embellishment. And these particular dies, they add embossing and lots of detail to the image. They're super cool. Okay, so we'll get those glued down. And then to finish it off, I'm going to add some blue dots. And these are the BlueBird colored ones. I'm going to add a whole bunch of round dots. They come in circles, hearts, and stars, but I'm just using the dots. I'm just going to scatter a whole bunch around. And with all the different patterns we got going on, I think that's enough. Super fun. So we won't be able to see these babies next time because they'll be fledgling, and we're not supposed to peek in the box if they're not quite ready to leave the nest. We don't want to scare them and have them come out at the wrong time. So we wish them well, and hopefully we'll see more eggs in the next couple months. So I'll make a list of all the supplies that I used with links in the description below. And you can do some shopping. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. And then you'll be able to find all of my videos. And thanks for watching.